What's up, it's Demented, and I wanted to do another Liquipedia dump because although I did one just a couple days ago, after kind of taking a break for him, I feel like there's been at least enough kind of moves that have happened that are worth discussing or talking about, and I think that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoy. So for our first thing, I wanted to kick off by talking about Moose and Angelic moving to Qara. Qara is a team that's been making moves for a while, but hasn't really gotten up to the contenders scene yet, but I think is really close to it. And these two pickups might only enhance that. If you don't know who Moose is from a really long time ago, I believe that was the Hog player on Clockwork Vendetta, as well as Angelic, who I talked up a lot in the last Liquipedia dump from former Square One, who I think has a lot of talent, and I think if given the right as kind of source material to work with, can do really big things. So overall, in terms of I'm not sure what the entire Qara roster looks like right now, but these two pickups definitely can kind of tell you that they're not really fucking around that much. I definitely think that there's going to be a lot of hope for them going into the next OD whenever that may be, and good luck to them regardless. Next, I wanted to talk about these Talon pickups. So this is really interesting because on the all of the pickups besides develop are all actually X Element Mystic, which I think is a really a team that kind of got scattered and then pieced together and then scattered again, and now is I guess reforming once again, but on Talon. And I think that's a super interesting thing, as well as OZ Gaming continuing to get picked apart as much as they did in this offseason, going into making what looks like could be a pretty strong Talon roster. I really think that they're just maybe a few moves away from making a really solid roster overall. I don't know much about these players individually, but the stats speak for themselves a lot when you see just how much Element Mystic was able to do in the last couple of contenders splits, that they've been just kind of dominant in general, and I really look forward to seeing where they're at compared to the rest of the play in the next contenders scene. Now really quickly, I want to backtrack a little bit into the WGS Phoenix roster getting kind of disbanded, and if you watched my last Liquipedia dump, my thought was that pretty much praying that through this you're gonna see at least a chunk or part of the core kind of getting elevated into Owl, which I think, as much as I want to be true, in reality it probably won't be. But what this means for the Korean scene is pretty much that this roster getting scattered, this is a very good and well put together roster. So if this roster gets split up, but then different pieces get picked up by different teams, it's overall going to make the level of play even higher in Korea than we've already seen before, which I think is super interesting, and I'm so fucking happy for. Next one's kind of small, but Illicit going down from, I believe, what was Seoul Dynasty now to Team BM. And Team BM, if I remember correctly, made another pretty solid pickup in Babel not too long ago, and through that I think they're doing a really good job of finding people that were still Overwatch League level that didn't maybe get a whole lot of shine or enough playtime to really show all that they can do in the last scene of Overwatch League, and they're trying to build a roster off that, which I think is really smart, and I would be really excited to see what else comes out of this roster. So the next signing that, as my friend put it, was pretty much the most left field signing that has kind of happened in this offseason is I'm gonna try to say Jihoon, got picked up from what was London Spitfire a long time ago onto now Guangzhou Charge. So if you look at Jihoon's little Liquipedia page, you can see that their most played is Wrecking Ball, or their signature hero is Wrecking Ball, which is going to kind of not exactly give me more questions, but is going to give me more answers, I think, and think that Rio has been a very consistent main tank that we've seen all of last season and the season previously. So I wouldn't have expected them to get rid of Rio, nor do I think that this is going to get rid of Rio. I think this is purely just for a ball specialist, which I think is something that they're going to need going into next season, especially if Ball stays as much of a staple as he has been for a while. I mean, outside of that, I think that's a really good pickup for the overall strength of their team. Guangzhou has been making really good moves, so I completely trust this decision entirely, and I hope nothing but the best for him. So the next thing I want to talk about is this Jake signing. So a lot of people have given their opinion on this, but I didn't read the entire whole Twitlonger thing, I'll admit. But from what I was told, Jake basically got signed more as a coach and a coach with a substitute player on the side kind of thing, as opposed to it just being a full-on okay, I'm back playing again, which I think is something that is definitely interesting. And I mean, personally, I've never been impressed with too much of what Jake's done, but I mean, I'm sure his game knowledge overall has been something that is to be kind of looked up to in a way. So I'll give him props where it's due, and I can only hope the best for them. I've heard a lot of rocky things about how Outlaws expectations should be going into next season, and I mean, if anything, I mean, I hope this gives people a lot more I guess kind of hope going into next season, but regardless, it's a pretty okay pickup. Next, someone who I'm not very familiar with, but I wanted to still bring up, is Yahoo going to O2 Blast, because I think this just about cleans up the entirety of the O2 Blast roster, and I can't really speak as much for some of these people. I don't know much about Yahoo personally, but I really think people to keep your eyes on are people like Aldo, people like Proper, and I think those are two kind of big names that pop out to me on this roster as opposed to anyone else. Sanguinar never really impressed me that much, but maybe going down to contenders and kind of bringing that experience down with him can hopefully elevate the team more than ever. So that's my hope, but I can't really guarantee anything. And lastly, really quickly, I wanted to bring up this Noble roster change, which this isn't anything to really care about, to be honest. Basically, the entire Noble roster is just being moved to another organization, and for the meantime, they kind of just have to be shown that they're all being kind of moved into a not team thing. From what I've been told, the entire team is staying together, so I wouldn't worry about this if you're a Noble fan, or I guess just care about any of the players on it. The last kind of small thing that I wanted to bring up is Numlocked retiring, who I mean is someone who's pretty much been in the game for so fucking long that it's kind of sad to see more times than not. But I mean, if there's anyone that's had one hell of a ride, it's this guy, bouncing kind of back and forth between Owl and contenders, then back to Owl, and had a kind of multitude of redemption arcs. So I think in general, Numlocked had a pretty good run in my opinion, but it's always going to be sad to see someone go. So with that, I think that's it. So just a, I guess, tiny recap. I really like these Qara pickups. I like these Talon pickups. The illicit signing as well is good. I'm a little bit neutral on the Jake pickup, and the Jihoon pickup I think is pretty good as well. And in terms of Yahoo, I again can't vouch for this pick in particular, but the O2 Blast roster in general is looking very good, and that I think is going to be it. So with that, I'm going to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of the support I've been getting. A couple things planned in the future. I still really want to do a Mercy Guide video, but right now I'm kind of struggling to get gameplay for it because I don't know how to really get good gameplay. Outside of that, if you want any kind of updates or anything on that, it's always going to be on my Twitter, and I think maybe on the day that this is recorded, which I guess doesn't really matter in production, is gonna be actually me live streaming these tournament games from the next cup. I don't know if I'm doing a full-on companion stream or not, but I will definitely be thinking about it. So if you see me live, feel free to stop by. I love all of you, and I will see you when I see you. Later.